So guys, I'm out and about on the V-Strom 650 and I've not ridden this bike for about a month now, and one of the reasons I've not ridden this bike for about a month was wanting to gel and bond, I suppose, with the Voge 900 DSX, and knowing what a good little bike the V-Strom was, the V-Strom 650, I've avoided jumping on to compare the two, and probably I should have stuck that way, to be honest, because I've forgotten how good this bike was, to be honest. Now the problem with this bike, it's a little bit underpowered 2-up, especially with luggage. But power wise, for one person, there's plenty of power in there. It goes really, really well. It's unintimidating. It's a nice bike to ride. Although somewhat dated in some of its capacities and what it can do. Old type screen, only a couple of riding modes, basically rain and normal. And they're not really classed as rain and normal, they're just classed as traction control 1, 2 and off, basically. But yeah guys, I mean, it's crazy how we jump from one bike to another and we look for something else. When I used to ride this all the time with my wife, we noticed that suspension is a little bit hard. It's not a trail bike as such, it's an adventure road bike, but it's such a nice, again, when you jump back on it after riding the DSX, I'm not saying the DSX is bad, I'm not saying anything about it. The DSX is a nice bike to ride, it's very, very confidence inspiring. It's set up so that you feel confidence on roads that have got a bit of sand on them, a bit of gravel, and not quite perfect, a bit rough and a bit undulating. It corners really well. This bike I'm on now, the V-Strom 650, many a time it's stepped out on the back end on me on a bit of sand or whatever, and I could get around that with a more aggressive tyre, some Anarchies on there or something like that, that wouldn't be a problem. Yeah, I used to have the wind deflector on this bike and I've put it on the DSX, so it's a long time since I've ridden this bike without the deflector on, and I'm experiencing quite a bit of buffeting, even though there's not a lot of wind at the moment. This is all screen wind buffeting over the top and onto my helmet. But yeah, what's very strange about jumping back on this V-twin from the parallel twin is the fact that there's this amazing low down torque, more so than the DSX. And what I mean now is I'm in 5th gear, I'll go around this corner in 5th and it's not chugging at all, it's just gone around there. I'll change down into 4th and again it's pulling away, it's chugging a little bit in 4th there from 2000, but it's doing it. But what I find on the DSX, it wants to be over 3000 revs all the time, and it sounds a bit agitated all the time, almost like a scolded cat, if you like. It's nowhere near as refined in its riding as the V-Strom that I'm on, which leaves me in a conundrum, because I said in an earlier video that it's such a good bike that I might end up keeping it. And with me just saying what I've said to you guys before, that I've not ridden it for a month, obviously it's not getting a lot of ride time, but to be honest, now I've jumped back on it, it's just like putting an old pair of slippers back on. It's a nice comfortable fit, to be honest. Now that's the only thing now, I'm doing about 98 kph, and instinctively I just went to change up. I'm in 6th gear already, and I thought, well, I'd better change up into another gear, and that is the highest gear. Now I know this bike goes great, and it'll top speed of about, I would think, about 155. So nowhere near the capability of the DSX, which has got a capable top speed of well over 200 kph. But, and I can see where people come from with Japanese bikes, the refinement. And what really gets me now, what I really can't understand this, guys, you'll have to put me right on this, that the DSX has got the engine from the F900 XR. That's the model it comes from, the 95 brake horsepower engine. It's been out for a good few years now. It's not a new engine by any means, but I'm not saying it's not a smooth engine. It is a smooth engine in its own way, but out the front here, this section of the bike, you get a lot of engine noise and clatter, so you basically hear everything that's going on. Very, very noisy. And I mean, I'm riding this bike now without earplugs in, and it's quite, apart from the wind noise, it's the noise is not excessive out the bike. It's quite reasonable and enjoyable. Now, what I can't understand is, first of all these guys have got these F800 and F850s and the new F900 GSs. They've all spat the dummy out over the DSX 900, saying no, it's not the same bike, and it's not this and it's not that, and they're all really upset. Now, every reviewer that jumps on the 900 DSX says as soon as they get on it, it's just like a BMW. It sounds the same, the engine notes the same, the exhaust notes the same, and it rides the same. So if the DSX 900 has got such a clunky gearbox, and it's such, how can I put it, such an unsettled engine that's like a scalded cat, as I said before, why would someone pay 18 or 19,000 euros for the F800 850 GS Adventure, fully kitted out with the luggage and all the bits, when there are far better alternatives out there? Are they just paying all that money just purely for the BMW badge? And this is what is sort of stuck in my mind and the way I'm thinking at the moment. It's got to be purely the fact that they want to ride a BMW, and I've got a BMW and I've paid X amount of money for a BMW. I can't honestly see any other reason not to get a different style of adventure bike. I know I'm not saying that this is a true adventure bike. As I said earlier, it's more road orientated, but very easy to ride. I've never taken it off road because I wouldn't be comfortable taking it off road, I don't think. I'm not sure. Maybe if I'd have put some Anarchy tyres on it, Anarchy Wiles on it, maybe I would have done. But the suspension, with it being non-adjustable on the front, it's just not set up as a big trail bike. It's set up as a sports tourer, which is what it's badged as, a sports adventure tourer. So yeah, conundrums, guys. I'm not saying I dislike my DSX 900 in any way. I really like the bike, I really like riding it, but it's nowhere near as refined, and that's not because it's a Chinese bike, a Chinese gearbox and a Chinese engine, because all the BMWs from the F series, they ride the same, clunky gearbox, scalded cats type ride, snatchy throttles on a lot of bikes. So I don't know, guys, that's my two penneth worth and my tour around the Campo and the Suzuki V-Strom that I haven't ridden for a while. What I will say, the Suzuki V-Strom, this has got bar risers on it as well, but I find my hand position, I don't know what it is on the DSX, I do get a wrist cramp on my right hand, the accelerator hand. I find it's very, very, very comfortable to ride. You can see it's got these stepped up raised bars, instead of being like the flat bars that go across and just have a turn in on them. This has got a raised section that raises the bars up. I just can't put my hands on it. I think the bars are a bit wider on the DSX than this. Suspension is definitely smoother on the DSX than this. I'm getting bounced all over the show on this, but this is a very, very nice bike to ride, and I've done a review on this, a long-term review after owning it for a couple of years, saying what a super bike it is. It's a legend of a bike amongst people who know this bike. These bikes will do long distances and high mileages without even breaking a sweat. And my particular bike at the moment, I've got 38,000 on this, and it wants a valve clearance check at the next service. But saying that, it's sweet as a nut. I mean, it's got this auto start where you press the start button, you just tap it once and it keeps turning over till it starts. You don't need to keep your finger on the button. It's got an easy start clutch, so what it does as you pull away, it raises the revs to stop any potential stalling of the bike, so you rarely stall it because it caters for it. So yeah guys, I don't know what I'm doing now. I don't know whether I'm going to keep this, sell it. It's certainly a nice bike to ride, but with 3 bikes in my stable at the moment, so this bike, my Super Meteor, which I'm definitely keeping, and my DSX that I'm keeping because I've only just bought it. To be honest, if I'd have sold this before I jumped back onto it and rode it now after not riding it for a month, I probably wouldn't have had any qualms, but getting on it and riding it now, it's a beautiful bike. It's got all the shad luggage on the back, expandable top box that takes 2 helmets easily, side cases that clip off really easily if you're going away, and you've got overnight gear with you. So yeah, it's pretty much set up for everything you need. And the biggest bugbear with it, I mean, for me, it's worth X amount of euros. Now the current state of the market is that people aren't buying bikes, they're not buying new bikes or second-hand bikes, apart from the flurry of people who've bought the DSX. But for what I get for this, I've got to ask myself, apart from paying for the yearly insurance that I have to pay, I own it outright, I don't have any finance on any of my vehicles. I buy my vehicles cash, save up hard-earned cash and pay for them. So with the 3 bikes alone, I've got a chunk of money just sat around in bikes. So the question I've got to ask myself is, the money I'm going to get back for this, do I need the money to get it back? What will I do with it? Will I just put it back in the bank? So do I sell it? Do I drop it to a stupid price just to sell it, just to get rid of it because it's an extra bike? Or just do I say to myself, well, no, I'll keep it, and if I want to ride it, I'll ride it. So that may be the way I'm going to go, because it's a cracking bike. Even though it's only 70 brake horsepower, it really is an eye-opener, especially when you jump back off the DSX onto this guy's. So I would say, if you're getting a DSX and you're putting money down on there, you've got to want it for a certain purpose, because if you want comfort, sweet gear changing, a nice sweet engine, you're really going to want something like this, a V-twin that's tried and tested. Even the new Suzuki's are supposed to be good, but I wouldn't have the new Suzuki 800 over this any day. This is butter smooth on the gear changing, the riding. So back at base, bit of a dilemma, guys. Any thoughts that you guys may have, let me know, and I'll catch you in the next video, guys. Ride safe.